particular that would let them designate that and pull junior water rights back to the federal government. They designate it as a scenic river or wild river, and then they stop any more water rights from coming out of it, which would, in essence, choke down. It occurred to me when you guys were talking, and I don't want to pull something out of my head.
Well, it sounds like more federalization of our property to me, based on a little bit that I just heard. They make a few more national parks. I moved here because of those beautiful mountains, and I've come to love your beautiful mesas on my trips out here. But the federal government's got to get its fingers off of our property, whether it's in those water rights or whether it's creating, 5 more national forests. They want to go wilderness completely in some parts of our natural forests. We came here to enjoy the forest, not to just stare at them. We want to get into them and enjoy them. So I hope that helps, because you kind of caught me from left field on that.
Well, I don't might come up, and there's no reason the candidates would necessarily know that, but I thought it was a piece of it.
Well, save us, Scott.
Well, the wild and scenic designation is a taking by the federal government, and it's not just on the Colorado main stem. You also have to worry about the tributaries. And they put a map out for them, just like Diana DeGette when she does her wilderness deals. You take a look on those wilderness designations that she's proposing and look at what watersheds are included in that. They are not Denver watersheds, by the way. They are our watersheds. That's problem number one. Number two, with the scenic and that kind of designation, is the attempt to reach outside the property they own. And they do this by, for example, like let's take Colorado National Monument. Well, let's take one that's downstream. That's why you never want a wilderness area downstream, because what they do then is say, well, we know this is the wilderness, and we know this is the scenic river designation, but the water coming in here, because there are too many homes being built upriver in Eagle or Vail, it's coming in too warm. So we're going to reach outside the designation we have to control building and control development. It is being used as a weapon, as a taking for the federal government. We have to be extremely careful and vigilant about what they're doing. And that's a dangerous, dangerous designation for the future of Colorado, which is totally dependent on our water resources.
Well, thank you. And I thank both candidates. And we would like to give them each 2 minutes. And Scott, why don't we let Dan start the 2 minutes, if you'd like to, since we switched back and forth here, to kind of sum up his feelings tonight. I want to thank everybody for coming, by the way. This is being broadcast on Channel 12, and it will be rebroadcast several times. You have to kind of check the schedule on that to find out when. I think the newsletter from the WSCA, when they find out, they'll probably include that as well. So, Dan, thank you.
Well, thank you very much for your work. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for the great questions. What's important is that you walk out of here tonight knowing the differences. We've given some great answers, and when two good conservatives get going at it, things start to blur together a little bit. But you've got to walk out with some differences. Here are some differences. I bring 25 years of business development, management, and executive experience to the table. There's a different skill set with my opponent. I want to protect private property rights in southeastern Colorado against the expansion of Pinyon Canyon. And I'm going to be in the ranchers' properties again in a couple of days. I want to protect those private property rights. That's a difference between us. I have signed the Colorado Union of Taxpayers pledge not to raise taxes. I have signed the National Taxpayers Union pledge not to raise taxes. I do not believe my opponent has signed either one. If you're going to say you're not going to raise taxes, then put it in writing for the citizens of Colorado instead of just talk about it. Those are probably the three biggest differences that you're going to see in us. And now you have to go out and make those decisions. How many state delegates? How many state delegates in the crowd? I ask for your support. I ask for you to say it's time to move forward. It's time to make history in Colorado, not repeat history in Colorado. It is time to become a better and bigger and more profitable state under executive leadership who can get you there. If that works for you, I ask for your support when you go to the State Assembly and when you vote later this year. Not all of you are going to fall in love with Dan Maes. That's okay, because I represent one thing and he represents something different, and they're both fine things, but which fits you better? But it's time to make history, not repeat history. I'm Dan Maes. Thank you very much.
Well, first of all, be careful before you sign a national pledge. In Colorado, we know how to do our own business. We don't need a national organization telling us how to run Colorado. Second of all, you should put it in writing, and that's why I've urged my opponent. He's refused to do it, but I've done it, and I hope you get an opportunity to go out. When you go out the door, pick up our platform for prosperity, which goes way beyond just no tax increases. It talks about amnesty, and by the way, you have done a reversal in regards to amnesty, and you can cite the Denver Post. Don't take it from me. You've evolved, and I appreciate the fact you've come our way on it. It is an important issue. It's contained in this platform. But more than anything else, and the other difference is, Lori and I have had businesses for a long time. But man, we've had a lot to lose here with the diversity of Colorado. Colorado has, to get the grasp of the different issues, whether it's our state, or any of those things, higher ed, wild and scenic, how we do our budget, who does this, what appointments, it's critical that we have someone who's worked from the bottom up. I'm not using this as a platform to go anymore. I'm back because just like you, all coming out tonight, those of you that are delegates, and Josh, the neatness about this is a young kid, young man right here, so excited he can't control himself, starts applauding. So I commend you for that, man. You just keep working on that. That's the beauty of it. But let me do the wrap here, which I think is so important. And that is when we come to things like this, we talk about problems. We talk about the budget. We talk about the unions. We talk about immigration. We talk about the assault by the federal government and so on. And it's pretty easy to leave here and loss of jobs, which we've really felt the pain of here recently. It's pretty easy to walk out of here pessimistic about the future. I think we've got a great future. That's why I think the race is absolutely so critical. We do have to put into this mix of our future, we've got to put different leadership. Don't let Hickenlooper do this to us. He's going to do just what Ritter did to us. We get the right kind of leadership, conservative philosophies and principles, and our future is bright. And Josh, we won't have to export you to get a job somewhere else. You can stay right here. Thank you very much. Appreciate your support. Thank you. Thank you.
I truly do not want to draw attention to myself right now, but because of the dire situation that we are in as a nation and as a state, I think that we must address the 800-pound gorilla that is right.
But David, if I give you time to speak, you have opponents in the room for your job, and I think it's a mistake.
I don't care about myself as a candidate. This has nothing to do with me. What this has to do with is the state of Colorado and our nation. And we must address how to deal with the control of our public lands in this state. Are we going to control our public lands? Will we move to purchase from the federal government control of those public lands so that we control our
Okay, David, I think we
I do.
we got the point. And this is our guest's time. Let's spend a little time with that. The rest of you, and David, I appreciate your zeal. You know that. We want to thank everybody. We want to thank everybody. Have good candidates, David included, who's very strong feelings. But we're going to have to let everybody go tonight. If you want to stand and talk with David, he'll remain here as well. So will Dan. So will Scott. We appreciate having such great candidates. And I appreciate the